Welcome to Minions and Misfits, the family-friendly, actual play, off-kilter TTRPG podcast, where instead of playing as archetypal heroes, we assume the roles of common grunts and monsters and non-player characters. I am your fastidious facilitator for this season, Rebecca Evans, and as always, I'm joined by my plentiful players.
Plentiful players.
Huh.
There are plenty of us.
There are three, to be specific.
3. And frankly, that's a pretty good size for a TTRPG game. Ours includes Dylan.
Hello.
Cam.
What's up?
And Sam.
I'm ready to get hurt again.
That's the spirit going into any TTRPG game.
But especially this one.
I almost said when introducing you, Sam, sporting controversial facial hair.
Yeah, for all of you at home, just know that Sam usually has a gorgeous, gorgeous beard, and he has rid himself of it and shed it in exchange for just simply the mustache.
With pretty heavy
He has
stubble.
gone
Heavy stubble.
Yeah.
It's in vogue
He has
right
gone
now.
full Groucho Marx.
It's awesome. I love it.
It is
He
quite
loves
the
it,
it is
and that's
quite
what
the summer
matters.
vibe.
But it made
But-
me think of a little question corner question for our boys,
Ooh.
since all of our main characters are male. Though also 2 of them are elves, which generally don't have much facial hair. But that could lead to even more fun potential for this question.
Okay,
Of
okay.
like, what was their biggest Hold on, I have too many facial hair questions. What facial hair do they wish they could have? How would they like to style it? When was their awkward teenage they tried to grow out a mustache, and how bad was it? What
Oh
did it look
yeah.
like? All this kind of thing.
let me tell you, Freddie really tried to do a goatee at one point, but it just did not come in. And so his embarrassing phase was when he tried to do the goatee, and it was just very wispy and really unfortunate.
Very sad. Very sad.
I don't know, Niles. I feel like Niles definitely had the teen stash for a long time. Like,
Oh
he
gosh,
grew it out.
the peach
yeah.
fuzz, like dirt on the lip.
But now that he is in the clergy, I think he is clean shaven. In my mind, he's always very clean shaven.
Do the clergy of the author are they required to be clean shaven in their post?
No, I think for him it's more just appearance. I feel like
Okay.
because again, of all the characters that we're studying, I think he's the one who has one of the most accurate depictions of himself. I should say accurate negative depictions, and so he is well aware of his facial hair shortcomings. And so I think he realizes, I can't grow a beard, so I'll just keep it very nice and clean shaven. That and
What you got?
Yeah, and he's based off of David Hyde Pierce, who has gorgeous cheekbones, and so in my mind, Niles has gorgeous cheekbones.
Ooh. Does he have
believe it.
slightly thicker, lower sideburns?
Not lower. I think they're like Victorian era sideburns, down a little bit, but not straight up like mutton chops, just a little bit.
They ain't sticking out. They're just going down towards
It's
the
like
lobes of the ear
like
a little
a
bit.
Matthew McFadden vibe.
Yes, that.
Well, Ephraim, being a half-elf, he doesn't grow like a good beard, but I think he does have a kind of aristocratic, well-kempt mustache.
I've always pictured him with a bit of a pencil beard.
Yeah.
Is that the word? Where a chin strap beard. A little
Yeah.
bit too.
Pencil beard.
A pencil beard? That's the mustache. That's the thin
I've always,
mustache.
if he has any kind of beard, it would be like a sort of devil beard, devil goatee. But I think he's better in my head as just having a
Yeah.
pencil mustache.
Yeah, whenever I've pictured Ephraim, I've pictured a little the devil goatee almost kind of thing.
Before we talked about our face casts for the main characters, I often pictured Ephraim being played by this guy that I did theater with in college, who always
Shout
got
out to College
typecast
Boy.
as the villain. And he was the first GM I ever played with. He GM'd the
nice.
first TTRPG game I ever played. So, Brent, if you're listening, hope you're doing well, man.
What's up, Brent? That's my dad's name.
Shouts out to
My first
Brent.
GM is your dad. Time loop.
Small world.
With that.
I too know a Brent who is into theater, so he's older though.
Brent's
My
not just
dad?
theatrical by nature. All Brents are just this one guy.
I know a Brent who's also Dylan's dad.
Oh yeah, you met him at the wedding.
Yeah.
Speaking of weddings, or lack thereof,
Did you like that segue?
Oh no.
let's get into this chapter of Pearlsfield.
Cue the music.
Let's get into this chapter, which is not at all foreshadowingly called 4 Funerals and a Wedding.
Chapter 9, Austentatious. Well, we're all a bit confused about where exactly we left off last time, because our episodes are being put out.
We're being good podcasters, and we're
being
actually
good
filming things
podcasters.
in advance.
Exactly. We're recording. Don't get to see our faces yet.
Well, we film.
We do. We do get to see each other's faces. We are selfish that way. We don't share them. But anyway,
You can't
we're on the
handle our
upkeep
faces.
phase. Getting back on track, we're going to go into our upkeep phase for the end of this cycle of play.
Should I be concerned?
Always. Let's see here. First step of the upkeep phase is to use any remaining monologue tokens. Does anyone have an unused monologue token?
I used mine.
You did. I'm very proud of you.
I do believe I have one, but I don't know how I want to spend it.
What? I told you about this 10 seconds before we started recording. Why haven't you
Yeah.
thought of something by now?
Has Niles thought of anything?
I don't know if I've used mine or not.
You
but-
don't. It is checked.
neither-
It is
neither
still
have.
checked on the doc, so you need to use it.
Then I'll
When in
say
doubt.
I want to continue from our last episode. I want a monologue from Joffrey Schmezos.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
I'll also add something that I saw when I was glancing over the rules, is that it recommends or it suggests that you can ask, especially at the upkeep phase, for specific content. Like, what were they thinking about X? Or what are their play? Like, you can get specific.
It's hard because both of my characters really have said everything that they're thinking at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what else you could really ask of, like, Vlad or Niles.
Yeah, we're pretty clued into what Vlad's up to.
Yeah, I'm tapped out of secrets as a player.
So you want a monologue from Joffrey Schmezos. When exactly do you want that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I feel like this is probably an hour after Vlad talked to them, and now they're all just sitting awkwardly in the carriage, with Joffrey Schmezos kind of smirking mischievously, and Vlad kind of like tinkering with like the wallpaper in the carriage and like breaking a little bit. Like, oh never mind, sorry. Go ahead.
Speaking of Joffrey Schmezos' carriage, for the listener, I have provided my mental image of what Joffrey Schmezos' carriage is. You can look it up. It's called the Marienburg Land Ship from Warhammer Fantasy. It's just like it's literally just a naval warship with wheels on it.
Just to be extra.
And this one is, the wood is painted a bright red with gold and bronze accents on the metal. And Joffrey Schmezos leans back in his cushioned red velvet seat and steeples his fingers as he glances out the window, watching the rolling hills slide by. What is he thinking about? I kind of think I want to give images more than words.
Just piles
if
and
you say this is
piles
your
of
token?
money. Just bunches of money.
Scrooge McDuck levels of
if
money.
I give some little bitty like flashbacks and images instead of just a monologue, or would you like a monologue, Sam? It is your token.
You know, you're the facilitator. I will allow you to facilitate in whatever manner you see appropriate.
Wow.
That sounded really passive aggressive, and I did not mean it that way.
Didn't it?
Sorry, that sounded really.
He thinks back to his childhood with Ephraim.
Bum bum bum.
Ephraim, when did you really decide you hated Joffrey Schmezos?
Probably when they were like teenagers, 15, 16.
Was there an incident?
No, I'm sure there was, but I don't know what the inciting incident would have been.
It's been so long that we've forgotten, but we do remember that we still hate him.
You grew up in the same town, and Joffrey was always the handsome, wealthy, and extra wealthy one. Everyone knew
He
his
probably like bird dogged the girl that Ephraim was interested in at the time or something like that.
name. It was a ball. There was a dance for all the young people in the town. Everyone from all the different classes were there. A beautiful mixing. And you were finally going to ask her to dance with you. When somehow, even though you had been not particularly wealthy, Joffrey always liked to swoop in and just remind you of who you were and how little you had or could get. You were about to ask her for a dance when he suddenly appeared, swooped in and took her hand, and in the most obnoxiously ostentatious, flowery way, he got down on a knee. He had flowers, and she just blushed and gushed and had the most magical night of her life dancing with Joffrey Schmezos, and you got to sit there on the sidelines and watch. You think and Joffrey Schmezos thinks about this. We see him grin, a toothy grin, as he imagines looking over to the sideline and seeing Ephraim stewing. We see them as children in the park, playing a game with a bunch of other children, and Ephraim is left last, picked by neither side.
Because he's poor.
Because he's poor! Till Joffrey takes pity on him and offers to let him go fetch water for his team.
You know, because you're poor.
Because you're poor! And as we see these different scenes flashing through Joffrey's mind, we come back to Joffrey, who is grinning, and he looks out the window again, and he thinks to himself, "Oh, Ephraim, can't have you forgetting your place, can we?"
Because you're poor.
Because you're poor! You might think you have money now, but I can still make you feel as worthless as the dirt you claim to own. Because Ephraim, you'll always be poor in your heart.
Wow, this guy's like full high school, like Stephen King bully.
I like the idea that Joffrey Schmezos is somehow so like unpleasant and evil that even Vlad is uncomfortable now.
Vlad's just like, oh, he's very attractive, but he's also very unsettled. Like, he can't.
You call a sociopath.
He can't reconcile the nastiness of his personality with the attractiveness of his face, so he just goes with the face.
If you're pretty, you have to be good.
That's true. That's true.
Fun fact, kids, that's not true.
It's called
can be pretty and the
physiognomy,
worst.
and it's been debunked
Lookism is a problem.
for about 600 years.
Dylan, do you know how you want to use your monologue token?
Oh yeah, I figured it out. You know, Mummy Dearest. Yeah, I'd like to get a check-in on Mummy Dearest, specifically regarding. Have we even told her that we're calling off the whole?
We're so poor.
Oh.
Shoot. Oh man.
I have an idea, may I?
Yeah.
We see Mumsy looking out a window, and then we get a view from her perspective, and she is looking down at Freddie and Georgiana talking. Her hand rests on the windowsill as she looks down her nose at the scene. With her other hand, she fiddles with the feather boa around her neck, and she taps her fingers on the windowsill. And she says quietly, "Don't worry, my dear Freddie. We'll find a better bride for you.
Oh.
Just take care of things now." She steps
That
away,
sounds ominous.
and the boa whooshes over her shoulder. She walks out of the room as a single feather
my.
drifts to the ground.
I imagine the camera just stays there and it's just silent for a minute, and then you just hear, "You said there were cheese mines."
Still zoomed in on this
just the
little white feather.
Yeah.
These mines.
Oh my god.
It's just sounds of a scuffle.
That's our monologue token.
Here I thought she was gonna be like, "Oh, don't muck this up," but no.
Next is to refresh resolve tokens. So if you have less than 2, go up to 2. Otherwise, leave it.
I have 3 because
nice.
Cam owes me for something I don't remember.
Yay!
Yeah, I preemptively gave him 1 for something, so I only have 1.
So you go back up to 2 then, Cam. And now let's progress inner conflicts.
No, I gave him a futures. I gave him resolve token
Yeah, so it'd
futures.
be
So
3 and 1.
I'm refreshing to 1 instead of 2.
Oh, interesting. All right. Inner conflicts. Let's take a look at how those are going.
Yeah.
This, I don't believe, is this on our play
It's
sheet?
on. It's not on the sheet, but
No.
it is
Yeah.
on the drive.
It's on my sheet, the inner conflict, like with the checklist.
Yeah, you have a character sheet printed out. It's not on the group play sheet.
Yeah, I have it right here.
It's on
The
personal
rest
character
of us
sheets.
don't have that printed out, fancy boy.
Sam is
Because you're Paul.
And-
No,
Because you're Paul.
sorry. No, that is not true. So mine is duty versus desire, and I already have checked off. I took actions in pursuit of both. I think I also sacrificed something important for my duty. That was a while ago, but I have.
What did that look like? Remind us.
He said duty.
Any given time where he withheld his feelings in order to support his brother and Georgiana.
I'm thinking specifically about after the delightful dinner party, when he took the time to go help the adventurers instead of being with Georgiana,
Oh,
so that his brother could be. So mark it off.
so
This
yes.
is me agreeing with you.
Oh, okay, sweet, yeah.
I was just like, is there a specific instance? And I was like, I think about this moment.
I sacrificed
I
something.
have a bad habit of agreeing with people in a way that sounds like I'm disagreeing.
I'm there with you. Air high five.
Struggle.
But at the same time, he definitely sacrificed his own personal image and wealth for Georgia. So I'd check that one off too.
All right.
You hurt or pushed away someone important to you for this. I physically hurt Freddy, but he also physically hurt me. I don't know if
Brother on brother violence.
I hurt Vlad. Like, I attacked Vlad for both, honestly, to save his brother, but also save his desire. Would that check off both as well?
Let's go with desire, because you could have done it in a way that messed up Georgiana's shawl, but you didn't.
Yeah, he went with that method so that he could, for Georgiana. It's really Freddy versus Georgiana, I guess, in this. I degraded my reputation or went against your conscience for this.
Ooh.
I think he degraded his reputation in pursuit of desire, because
Yeah.
it's been affecting his job as a cleric, but it's also, he gave away like a substantial amount of his last monies to Georgia in the last episode. Your actions in pursuit of this side of the conflict, this is the final one, by the way. This is like the big one. Your actions in pursuit of this side of the conflict destroyed your chance of successfully pursuing the other.
Haven't gotten there quite yet.
No, I don't think he's there.
Yeah, no.
I don't know if he will get there, if I'm being honest. I'm sorry, that's a very boring thing to say. We don't know.
That's just different stories, man. Who's next?
I'll go next.
Yay.
Ephraim's inner conflict has been the truth versus the lie, the truth versus the con. This last cycle, he definitely took action in pursuit of the truth. He revealed his con to Freddy. He revealed his true last name and origins to multiple people. Sacrifice something important to you for this. He hasn't done that yet, but he is about to. We talked about it. He talked about it with Freddy, but he's giving up the offer from the Bashmores in favor of pursuing the truth. Hurt or pushed away someone important to you for this.
The Bashmores were important.
Yeah, but I don't think he's hurt them or pushed them
Yeah.
away so much as diverted their interest.
What
They're
about
more of
that
a business relationship.
Talk with Georgiana. What do you think about that?
Was that in
Yeah,
pursuit of the truth?
that would have been in pursuit of the lie, I think.
I've just been assuming we've been like going down the list and looking at both sides of the conflict and seeing if we check off.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess we would say that he hurt Georgiana in pursuit of the con, which is one of the reasons why he started to change his mind. Degraded your reputation or went against your conscience for this? No.
What conscience? His conscience just woke up.
His reputation has only been climbing.
Yeah.
Like you said, his conscience only just woke up a little while ago. And then your actions in pursuit of this side of the conflict destroyed your chance of successfully pursuing the other.
Not yet.
Not quite yet. We're almost there.
Dylan,
Yes.
let's take a look at yours.
Oh, Boise. Okay.
Money versus no money.
Yeah. Well, it's a little more complicated than that.
You know,
Broke versus woke.
because you're poor.
Because oh,
Laughs in wealthy.
I do believe that sacrificing something important to you for this would be.
Remind us what
action here.
your two sides are.
I only remember one of the sides is the problem right
You
now.
didn't write it down.
I had it in the chat and I've been searching for it for the last 5 minutes and I
no.
can't find it. I thought you knew.
Well, I have it written down somewhere.
Oh, that's good. I remember one
I
of them
just
is
have it in my
reputation or
mind.
perception.
Character.
Character
Reputation
versus
and
perception,
character. Yeah.
reputation and character. Okay. Yeah. I think I did have one of my first like growth moments here, so whether that'll last or not, we'll see. But yeah, I think I did
I like how
sacrifice.
Ephraim and Niles have had these wide season-long character arcs. Meanwhile, Freddy's entire character arc is
Yeah.
crammed into the last 2 episodes.
It's true.
He's a late bloomer.
When you broke up with a girl because you realized she was poor.
Yeah.
Definitely not because you were both conning each other.
Yeah, not that at all. Now I think, yeah, it's kind of tricky because with this whole Bashmore thing that Ephraim's setting him up with, that almost plays into getting back to the reputation side of things more than the character. But we haven't really gone into that yet.
He hasn't really taken action there yet.
Yeah.
You're the Kate Beckinsale in this love and friendship.
All right,
Okay.
so not a whole lot of progress for our boy Freddy.
No, I would, yeah, because he didn't really, it wasn't, it's like, he sacrificed important, but it wasn't for character.
Was it for reputation?
Yeah, it might have been, actually. Because if he knows, I mean, if he's calling them out. But
Grab a piece
he
of
also
paper and write it
did.
down.
I am. But he also, here's what I'm debating is the problem. He
Hmm.
also confessed for the first time.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that falls in this.
I'd say he could check off took action towards character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hurt Niles financially,
Oof.
And emotionally.
but mainly
Yeah, probably
financially.
emotionally.
In many ways, really.
Really,
Cheese mines. Alrighty. That's our upkeep. I believe that is all
Goodness.
we had left to do. No desires need replaced. No conflicts need changed. Let's go on to our novel phase.
Dun, dun, dun.
The drama.
Drama.
This one, I think, is going to be a bit more free form, for lack of a better term. Perhaps even more than just the like little scenelet chapters.
Intriguing.
We'll find out. We'll see what this is gonna look like. I do have some things that I know are happening. So I'm gonna set some scenes here, and then let's see what y'all want to do. Sound good?
Sounds good.
I'm in.
Let's see. Let me scroll to my stuff here. Here we go. Georgiana, or Georgia, has disappeared. But evidence of her time in Pearlsfield has not. Under Frederick's door, he found a small note, inside of which was Georgiana's engagement ring. And written simply on the small piece of parchment were the words, "I ask only one thing more of you, dear Frederick, that you believe I meant every good thing I said about you, from the bottom of my heart. I wish you well."
Oui.
Aw.
The first day after her departure, many women of little means walked into the chapel with chins held high, sporting shimmering, pearly cotton skirts and dresses, elegant pieces made under Georgia's instruction. On Tuesday, Niles officiated a wedding for a low-income couple, and the priest was taken aback when he realized the style of the bride's gown was familiar. He had never seen Georgiana's wedding dress, but... And the final trace left behind was a simple brown paper packet left on Ephraim's doorstep. In it were the dress he had gifted Georgiana and a wrinkled note that read, "Truth has a cruel double edge. I am relieved to have finally revealed my true self to Niles, and yet in doing so, I am confronted with how worthless that self is. All I know how to do is take. I implore you, take no more from Niles or his family. He is the best of men. I have returned to Mother, Georgia."
That wedding dress scene was rude.
I imagine that Niles just like trails off during the rites. Like, and you take Phil, Steve, to be your lawfully dressed husband. Well, what? Like,
He's got the names written on his hand.
Yeah.
And there's like an arrow pointing to each side off of his hand.
that being said, aside from that, Niles, based on his last interaction with Georgia, did kind of assume that she would leave. Honestly,
Yeah.
So he is really not. He's kind of trying to continue on with his life. Definitely thinking about her, but like the fact that she disappeared doesn't really shock him.
Yeah, not a shocker or hurt, just man.
Yeah, I think, I mean, he's not happy she's gone. He's really sad that she's gone,
Yeah.
but it's not, he wasn't expecting her to stay. And it's one of those things where, yeah, go ahead.
Does it almost leave him with a feeling of incompleteness? Like, so it's just kind of like a song that
When you
you
put it
pause
like
in the middle,
that-
and it just kind of trails off, and you're not sure if it's ever going to really end or if
No,
it's already over.
no. Because for Niles, he did the right thing, and he is confident in that. And I think there's a certain level of peace. Even though there's a level of sadness, he's left nothing on the table.
Yeah.
And so, I think, I think in the years to come, if it stays this way, he'll have days of regret. But I think he left with his chin held high, his head held high, and so yeah, which sucks in terms of character and improv because he's really now very passive.
I just imagine right now, I guess we're going over the week after all those events, and we see Niles walking to the chapel, pausing and looking into the cemetery, the graveyard, looking down the hill to see if anyone's walking up the way. Just little quiet moments of him in reflection and peace, but still sorrow.
I imagine at one point, he hears someone, he looks, it's not Georgiana, it's like a kind of young family with several little kids, and instead of reacting with a face of disappointment, like there's a pause, but then he smiles and kind of like motions them into the chapel.
There's definitely a juxtaposition of like Niles's pensive acceptance and Freddy's just panicked. I have to fix this now.
Let's hear about how is Freddy doing in this week after?
I feel like he's really fallen back on Ephraim, and is just trying to follow up and learn everything he can about this new family so he can try and woo them, essentially.
Yeah, Ephraim is like basically being an actual friend to Frederick now.
Aww.
Ephraim's just like, man, I gotta do something about this.
Yeah.
He's like gesturing towards Freddy. He's just like, first we have to deal
Look
with
at this mess.
I imagine we see at a writing desk, Freddy leaned over, flipping through books and scribbling notes, while Ephraim is like instructing and like advising as he's studying for the Bashmore acceptance exam or something.
Yeah, basically.
And we see Mumsy in the doorway, just stroking.
Yeah, how
a
is she
feather
taking
boa.
all of this?
When you told her,
Ambiguously.
when you told her, she took your hands and said, "Oh, my sweet Freddy. She never deserved you anyway. We'll find someone better for you."
Okay.
Does Ephraim overhear that?
Probably. It sounds like they've been hanging out a lot, so he was probably around when this happened.
Yeah, almost certainly.
He silently clenches his fist at that statement.
Is Ephraim doing any other notes about Ephraim during this week following the incident?
He is spending more time at home. Nobody's really sure why, but when he's not seen with Freddy, he's not really seen at all.
He realizes that Vlad must have had like some really big nosebleeds because there's a lot of blood in the basement. Like you're kind of worried about about his like blood count at this point because like nobody bleeds this much. It's kind of like
Platelets must be real low.
and it must have happened like several times because some of the blood is older than there's new blood there. There's like old blood there. It's just very goodness gracious. Poor Vlad.
The basement was not left clean. Did he? And Vlad left behind Pierre?
I imagine that Pierre, like, he gave Pierre an activity to do that he hasn't given him leave from, so Pierre's still, like, knitting a scarf that's, like, 20 feet long or something like that.
So rude.
How interesting.
I think it was more out of neglect than actually wanting to trick Pierre. It's like he just totally forgot about Pierre.
Just need him to stay busy.
Yeah, literal just like, not even a thought.
No, not even one.
I have a note about a letter that Niles was trying to send to Georgiana or something.
Oh, he had already sent it.
Right.
That predated our story.
Is that the letter I have a note about?
The one that Ephraim somehow obtained.
Is that... Cam, this is the letter you messaged me about.
Yeah.
What's happening with that? I'm confused.
Oh boy.
Right.
Oh boy.
So
Should we cut this stuff out? Or
No, it's
okay,
fine.
cool.
Is this good? Sorry, Cam.
This is what real play means?
It's a letter, so it makes more sense for that to happen in the epistolary phase, don't you think?
Sure.
Don't you?
I wasn't sure what exactly the letter was when you messaged me about it, so I was like,
Yeah.
let me make sure
It's
if he wants this to happen here, he's got the chance.
Yeah. Well, we'll save that for this next epistolary phase.
This may be a short novel chapter. Here's our next scenelet. Yes.
Oh, I was going to say, because the other thing Niles has to work on is, like, balancing the family finances. Because, that's a train wreck. And so, has Auntie Agatha's house officially sold yet? Has it officially closed?
I think there has been an offer. Like, these things take time in the modern real world. I imagine they take even more time in the olden days before the internet. So
true.
But you are the Worthingtons, and
It is a historic home.
it is. And Pearlsfield is getting hot and popping
Booming?
with all the news about the dungeon. So I think you do have an offer that you're working on.
On Aunt Agatha's house?
That's good at least.
So,
And
is that also in Pearlsfield?
Yes.
So is it something where if Niles really wanted to save the family money, he would sell the family house and have everyone move into Agatha's old house?
Oh, don't you
That
dare.
would be horrible.
Horrible?
That would be like, y'all are
That's admitting
dethroned.
defeat.
The-
Yeah.
That is the family is dead. This is your historic home.
This is the manor.
This
So-
is
yeah.
It's where like it's not just like, oh, this house has been in our family,
Yeah, it's
but
not
like
just a
you are the
house.
keepers
Yeah.
of the house. The house is its own person that you have this symbiotic
It's
relationship
part of
with.
the family.
Oh,
You're
okay.
keeping this historic piece of property.
Oh, okay. Well, then we're
Think of like Pemberley, and if that
Downton
wasn't
Abbey.
there, like, come on.
so like financially, we're not at that point.
No.
No,
We better
okay.
not be.
imagine
Hey!
you
Don't say that to
also-
me. You're the one who got us here.
Freddie has debts. The family in general, I think, functions like they're living paycheck to paycheck
Yeah, relatively okay.
with a lot of things. So you're having to cut things out is
Yeah.
the biggest
Yeah,
thing
they-
that you're having to do. I don't
Less
know why I did,
finger
like,
sandwiches.
Vocans.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
so-
less
'Cause they're-
finger
they're-
sandwiches.
Their money comes from the pearly cotton business, so it's not like they've gone out of business.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just that
They're just in
Freddie's
they're just in a bunch of debt.
Freddie and Ephraim
You
have
gotta take
both
care
been
of-
siphoning things.
Yeah. You got to take care of Freddie's debt and other debts that have been sneaky in there and cut down on general spending.
Yeah, okay, then he's been doing that, but he very much sells Auntie Agatha's place if they're in that place where it's like, okay, we get us back to paycheck, but we're no longer desperate.
And working
Back in
down
the
from
black.
there. You are at the estate working on checkbook businesses, going through bills and things, when the door slams open and Mumsy
Oh, snap.
stomps into the room.
Run away.
Is Auntie Agatha following her?
Is she? Dylan?
Who all's here?
I think Niles has just been sitting in this
Yeah.
office space working
Okay,
quietly by
if
himself.
he's just like
I
in there
imagine
doing
it's-
finances, then yeah, like she stomps in angrily, and Agatha comes in like behind, like wailing.
I imagine it's probably their father's old office.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a painting of a horse and a mule. Or not a mule, is a horse. Or what were the two animals that killed him?
It was like a horse and a mule or a horse and a donkey or something.
Something like
Yeah.
that. Some, before they betrayed him and killed him for trying to matchmake them.
Yeah,
There's a-
it was a horse and a donkey because he was trying to breed a new new type of
That's
mule.
right.
There's a lot of like books about like horse breeding, which is weird because like I don't think we even really own horses anymore. Like,
Mumsy got
You're
rid
just
of
really
them all.
into it, yeah.
You only rent. But yes, Mumsy storms in. And she just like stomps up and stands beside your desk, looking down at you.
You
silently.
can't kick me out.
good morning, Mother.
Niles.
Are you just going to ignore me?
Good morning,
Yes.
Aunt Agatha.
I see how
Niles.
it is.
What is this about? A check? I thought you were balancing the budget.
Not selling my home.
That was part of the deal, Agatha.
I don't care. I'm having second thoughts.
Well, and he kind of puts the pen down and like puts his hand calmly on the desk. So, your favorite son, Freddie, has put us in what can only be described as bazonkers in debt. We have essentially nothing for the next 2 or 3 financial quarters, if not the next financial year. Aunt Agatha, we went over this. You literally moved out of your house. Aunt Agatha, what did you
Yes?
think was going to happen with your now empty house? Go ahead.
It was different when I saw it, and then there was the sign out front, and it hit different. I don't know.
Does Aunt Agatha have any money?
No, she's a pure moocher.
Oh goodness. And is the house in the family name or in Aunt Agatha's name?
Almost certainly the family name.
All right. Well, and Freddie just kind of like puts 2 fingers to his forehead.
Or Niles.
Oh yeah, Niles does.
I almost corrected you and said Ephraim.
One of our 3 characters.
We're bad parents.
starts-
We've confumed all our children's names together.
He starts retching in pain as he transforms into Niles and then Ephraim. No, Niles kind of puts 2 fingers to his forehead. Aunt Agatha, what would you like to see happen?
I would like to say one last goodbye.
Okay. like that was never. It's one of those things where
Didn't have to.
Like, you didn't have to ask.
You didn't have to ask me to do that.
Yeah, like, you could have, yeah.
Well, you're in charge of it all now. I don't know what's allowed and what's not.
The closing date is
It's
next
also
Tuesday.
different.
You have a week and a day to go and say goodbye to the house.
Oh, thank you, Niles.
Was this what this was? Is this really
That's that's what I was mad about. I don't know what she's mad about, but I'm gonna go say goodbye to the house. And she stomps off. And
Okay, problem one solved. Yes, mother.
Niles, you are far too generous for your good or the family's good. Exhibit Agatha.
Well, she is your
Exhibit
sister,
B.
mother.
What does that matter? She's a louse and a mooch.
oh,
And then you go and give money to that trash ex-fiancé of your brother's? I can't believe it.
And he kind of like coughs and like stands up. Now, mother, it's very interesting. If you were to go into the legal records right now, you would see that only one member in our family has the 4 letters Lord before his name, and that is not Freddie.
Snap.
It is not you. It is me. What I've done with the family is preserve it better than you ever have. So, you can either accept that fact and trust my judgment, or the door is open.
Camera pan over, the door is actually closed.
He kind of stomps over and opens the door. The door is now open.
Here is the door. Don't let it hit you on your way out.
How does she
That's the most assertive Niles has ever been in his life.
That was good. That was good. Niles, as your mother, let me give you a piece of advice.
Oh.
Look out for yourself first, because no one else will. She turns, the feather boa kind of smacks you in the face a little bit. She walks up.
And as she does, she says, you're wrong. I've been looking out for you and Freddie this whole time.
She doesn't turn around.
Niles is
She
fed
slams
up.
the door shut behind her.
And
Yeah, I
he goes,
thought she was gonna like shut him down.
and he
He spits out a feather and returns to the desk.
and he just goes back to work, kind of unfazed.
What a
Goes
boy.
back to writing on his desk with a couple little white feathers from the boa. He just brushes them off into the trash. Schmezos.
Oh gosh.
Joffrey Schmezos
One Joffrey Schmezos.
has arrived in town,
Oh gosh.
I do believe.
Have I met him?
No.
Okay, brand new.
Ephraim, have you even talked about him?
No, probably not. I mentioned him in my conversation with Freddie at the bar at the pub. I guess in the intervening time, I would have informed him more, given him more detail about Ephraim's nemesis.
So I'm coming into this fully against him just because of everything I've heard.
He is the worst. I think.
Yeah.
Ephraim knows what's
happens.
coming, and he's been trying to take steps to prevent this.
I think on Tuesday, that the closing on the house, Niles, you arrive at the bank to meet the new owner, and the door swings open, and a breeze carries in some flowers off the spring trees, and Sir Lord Joffrey Schmezos is
Sir
standing
Lord?
in the doorway. His hair, he pushes it out of his eyes, and he steps in the room. Bright red hair, chiseled face, muscular build, and perfectly fitted, fancy attire. And a lovely woman steps in behind him.
Jumps because
She
she's
says,
a mermaid.
I'm here to close on my new house.
Oh no.
At this
knew
point,
it.
I don't think Niles has any reason to have any red flags. Like, I don't
No.
No,
like
this guy seems above board.
like oh wow, he's rich and he's a jerk. What's new? Like, I feel like
Yeah, this is standard affair.
some of the flowers brushed into Niall's face just like the feathers did last scene. Just yes, please do take a seat, Lord Schmezos.
I think everything just goes smoothly, unless there's anything you think we would need to see there. I believe that's all the scenelets I want to cover this novel phase. Is there anything else y'all want?
Actually, I have a question. This is a character question, but I'm gonna give it to our facilitator. How impressed is Niles with Lord Schmezos? Because I feel like everyone has just been like, oh, he's so impressive, but I feel like Niles, he could be like that. I don't know. What do y'all think? I don't know what character choice to make. What character choice to make for Niles?
I would have to assume it's very much like, oh, it's another rich guy I'm dealing with. Like, you've dealt with these all your life.
Yeah, Niles is very much the one normal guy in a world full of clowns.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he knows some flamboyant kind of people, some showy kind of people like Brother Bro, who are true blue. Like, Brother Bro has your back. He has bad fashion advice for you, but he's got your back. But then you also know people who are just showy because they want people to like them.
Yeah.
And to look up to them and to do things for them, as opposed to people like Brother Bro, who, when you first met him, you thought, like, ugh, this guy. But as you got to know him, you realized he's just vibing.
He's vibing.
This guy is full of it.
He's a real one. Brother Bro is,
Brother
not
Bro's a
Joffrey
real one.
Schmezos.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, proceed.
Any other scenes y'all want to do before we
I'm
move on?
good, personally.
Yeah. I was gonna have Freddie and Ephraim's meeting with the Bashmores, but
Ooh,
I like
we can do that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Oh, gosh, okay.
Post the training montage.
Very easy. The good night. What's her name?
Hiram
Hiram?
Bashmore.
Yeah, Hiram with
Yeah.
an I. She was named after her grandmother.
Hi, Ram.
Is easy. She is in town while your meeting was a little weird. The vibes were off. She has made it clear that she is in town here for you, Ephraim, to observe your progress and also to potentially provide any support or resources. Like, sure, you're being tested, but it doesn't mean we're not going to give you pencils, you know? So she's easy to set up a meeting with.
Yeah. I feel like Ephraim would have provided some information regarding his proposal prior to the meeting. You know, while he was training Frederick, he also would have been in touch with Hiram. Basically, instead of being the guy, 'cause he doesn't really want to be anybody's guy, he does want to see two things. Wants the Worthingtons to succeed, and wants to keep Schmezos out, which the Bashmores also want. So basically, he's playing the middleman matchmaker. To borrow a term from the rules of the game, he's facilitating. He's making moves.
Making
That's
money
what he's doing.
moves.
Since when does he want us to succeed?
Look at that change. So you're all sat down to tea in Ephraim's sitting room to discuss business.
How much was I briefed?
As much as possible.
Okay. I feel like
know-
Freddie is going to try and weave as many, like, he's going to be that, like, slightly awkward guy who knows a little too much about you because...
He's been memorizing facts.
Yeah.
And
Like,
at some point,
you know, these things, like, that's a hobby, like, right?
at some point in the pleasantries at the start of this conversation, Sir Hiram, she just kind of chuckles and says, "You've been doing your homework, I see."
Indeed.
Very good.
So much homework.
You would not believe the amount of homework.
I admit,
No,
you
it is
do
a
not strike me, if I may be blunt,
Please.
Mr. Frederick. You do not strike me as a man of natural intelligence.
I don't know what that means, but thank you.
It means nothing more than a man who is not naturally strong or agile or gifted at the arts. We all are born with different abilities, but you, Mr. Frederick, strike me as a man of charm.
Oh, well, thank you.
A man of charm and determination, because despite your lack of proclivity towards the intellectual arts, you have put in effort. And that is good to see.
Oh, it's part of society. You gotta learn what you can.
Indeed. Weaknesses are not an excuse to demean ourselves or to sit by, but a chance to improve ourselves.
I like that.
Indeed.
To improving ourselves. He holds up a toast.
To improving ourselves. Clink, clink, clink. With that in mind, how do you intend to use your charm in the case of the Schmezos, Freudian slip there, situation?
What do you wish to be the outcome?
I would like to see Lord Schmezos out of here. Have less of his greedy little fingers in all the different pies around our kingdom.
Now, the problem with coming in with a bunch of wealth is that people are excited, and they want to see that wealth be spread into the community. The only way to prevent this will be to make him such a social pariah that we will have no choice but to make him leave. Or that he has no choice but to leave himself.
Indeed. Now, his money and his own charm are his most powerful weapons to gain ownership of the dungeon from the monarchy. But if you can create enough of a stink about him here in Pearlsfield that it spreads to the royal castle, that is a good idea.
Stink is what I specialize in.
That is a good specialty to have, Mr. Frederick.
Mr. Freddy. Are we...
Mr. Freddy, that's your wish.
Just to be clear, we want to do this without physical harm, correct? Or is that on the table?
Mr. Frederick, we at the Bashmores would never encourage you to act outside of the law. She leans
No, but
back
your
and
name
takes a
is
sip
your
of
name is
tea.
Bashmore.
I'm gonna say.
And the Bashmore would never encourage you to act outside of the law.
Would they encourage me to bash?
I would never encourage you on record to do such things.
Oh, of course not. No, not on the record.
Ephraim is just like elbowing him. It's like-
And she gives a little gesture to Ephraim and says, Mr. Ephraim, I believe you and Mr. Frederick could be good partners in not crime.
I believe Frederick also has some connections with some other useful non-partners in non-crime.
Yeah, how do you feel about birds?
Birds?
Of the white variety.
I was also talking about the adventuring party.
Do we want to do another scene of them gathering the troops?
I would be down.
All right,
Yeah.
What does that look like? How are they going to gather these troops, as it were?
Oh, I head directly to the, was it Goat's Head? What was it? Yeah, go to the Goat's Head. And I'm assuming at least a couple of the members are there, if not all of them.
The bard is for sure there.
Yeah, and probably the dwarf.
That laugh is perfect.
Ho there.
What'd you call me?
Hello, friend.
Hold on, what time step was that? Cut that out.
You're right.
That's 5620. Well, let me just try that again.
Ho there.
Hi!
How's it going, buddy?
It's going well.
Are the rest of your compatriots about, perhaps?
He's just like dancing and doing all sorts of ridiculous things on top of the table.
He's just doing Fortnite dances on the
Yeah,
table.
yes, that's exactly what he's doing.
He's like in the MMO like cool setting. There's people over here like RPing, and he's just the guy on the table like just doing the different
Constant emotes. Yeah.
jumping down, jumping from table to table.
He's like, yeah, Rebecca, Thurka's here.
Would it be okay if I went and spoke to her? Is she busy at the moment?
Yeah.
Speaking to her, that she's busy.
I'm over here.
Oh,
Calls
wonderful.
from my corner table.
I evade the bard as fast as I can.
I dab.
And he's just dabbing on the table.
and then starts doing the floss dance.
Oh gosh. Thelka,
Thelka
wonderful
has
to
a map
see you
laid out
here.
in front of her and is making meticulous notes. Yes, hello. Tomorrow is the day. We are going into the dungeon. I was able to get some information from our first scouting a couple of days ago. This team has been, but it's going to be great.
I'm sure you'll do wonderfully.
We'll be legendary. And you look down, and there's just like a stoat pointing at you with a fork.
Have you heard the news that one Schmezos is attempting to purchase this dungeon?
What?
Yes, so you might want to hurry in your expedition.
Oh.
Before it becomes private property.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Should we go tonight? I haven't used too many spell slots. I guess we could go ahead and get started.
Your bard seems a little indisposed. You might want to wait till morning.
He's fine. He mostly just fires his crossbow if there's trouble.
I don't know much about adventuring, but that seems like not the best answer. But
no, but we work with what we've got.
It's true. If perhaps you needed some help in making sure it didn't become private property, I believe our 2 areas of expertise would overlap in that regard.
Right. How about this? We'll stick with the original plan. Spell slots are important. Maybe we can meet at the dungeon in the morning.
I will gladly be there.
Wonderful. All right, and we'll figure some things out then, and maybe do a little dungeoneering.
It may be helpful to see how it all operates.
Yes, it will. Wonderful. Thank you again, Mr. Frederick.
No problem at all. Rest well, and keep that boy out of trouble.
See you next Thursday. Tomorrow.
Now, are you going to try to recruit the dove?
I go to the cave. I assume she lives there.
You go into the cave and you look around, kind of like trying to see if there's a trap door. When you hear a little click, clack, clatter of a pebble falling, and turn and see her standing silhouetted in the entrance.
I don't know how you always do that. That's so you always have. Oh gosh, I don't have a payment. I'm sorry to say, but I do have a proposition.
I'm listening.
I'm sure, as you are well aware, given your propensity for knowing everything, everywhere, all the time, that one Schmezos is attempting to make moves in Pearlsfield, specifically regarding the dungeon. I'm sure you are well aware that this dungeon provides a very lucrative opportunity for all adventurers or other individual parties, unless, of course, this dungeon becomes privately owned.
And what do you intend to do to stop it? Make it your own private property?
Heavens no. Lord knows I couldn't afford that, especially right now. You know that better than anybody. What I intend to do, and what I would hope to recruit your assistance in, is to drive this fool out of town, never to be seen again. I'm assuming you have dirt on him, given that you have dirt on everybody.
The Schmezos family is secretive. They're a very old money family. And tend to be kept up. Rarely allowing more than one child to be out in society at a time. Very mysterious in their hoarding of wealth.
Any leads I could potentially follow that would let our shared interests continue to align?
Secrecy is a powerful weapon. Don't let him wield it against you.
We can play with that.
Good luck, Frederick.
Good luck.
Disappears.
They're gone. Every time with that. One of these days I'll learn your name, Dove. Or see
The
you
dove.
come.
It's just a dove with a really impressive voice.
Thanks.
And minor illusion.
Wizard dub.
Heck yeah.
Alrighty.
This does place us at an hour, by the way, so far for recording time.
Yeah. I feel like it's a nice note to finish our little chapter on with upkeep
Vignettes.
and novel vignettes. Tune in next time, and perhaps we'll see a confrontation between our boys and Joffrey Schmezos.
Here's
Where is
hoping.
Georgiana? What in the world is going on with Mumsy? Stay
Who's
tuned.
Georgiana? It's all Georgia now.
Whoa. Georgia.
I wonder,
on my mind.
do we get to meet Georgia's mom? That's the real question.
Hey everybody, Cam here. Thanks for listening to Minions and Misfits. If you like what you heard, don't forget to check out our socials. The links are down in the description. And please, leave us a review on whatever app you use to listen to your podcast. It'll help us reach more people who can enjoy the episode that you just listened to. See you next time.